Hi, Joe Bolte, PFR Technician and Herbicide Specialist at our Effingham location. Today I come to you from our shop. We're taking advantage of this weather, trying to finish up some last minute projects here. We got the planter, we got the combine, so we're trying to get ready for the 2020 growing season. Now we're typically thinking about trying to get the planter ready, trying to make sure that we're going to be able to get out there and get things going, but in the next month is also going to be the perfect time to evaluate your pre-emerge herbicide program. So today we're going to talk about pre-emerge herbicides. And when I have somebody come up to me and say, well, what program you recommend? The first thing I'm going to ask is, well, what weed do you face? So knowing the weeds that you face. And well, why is that important? Well, it comes back to biology. Different weeds are going to emerge at different times. So if we take a look at giant ragweed, that's going to be the first summer annual that we'll see. Then as we get a little bit later, then we'll start to see those pig weeds. We'll start to see the water hemp emerge. So that can also interfere with our management and how we're going to evaluate those weeds. So knowing the weeds emerge is important. And also understanding the different herbicide groups. So that's the next thing. So if we think about the different herbicide groups, so the universities do a great job. The Take Action posters, hang those up on your shop. That's going to help you understand these different premixes. And also when it comes to these different groups, I kind of think of different groups when it comes to their strengths and weaknesses. Now we could separate them a little bit further. So the group 2, the ALSs, that's going to be more for our large seeded broadleaves. Metribuzin, in a group 5, it's made a big comeback the last 4 or 5 years. That's going to be really good on small seeded water hemp, but have weak grass control. Then we move to the PPOs, the group 14s. That's going to be for our small seeded, the water hemp control. But it's going to be weak on grasses. Then we got our group 15s and soybeans. So these are all our soybean groups, the group 15, small seeded, and grass. So now that I know the weeds that you face, now I'm going to start to think about all the different herbicide groups and all their strengths and weaknesses and try to develop a program around the weeds that you face. For instance, if you have water hemp and you don't have a large seeded broadleaf like Morning Glory, a group 2 is really not going to be beneficial in your program. If you got water hemp, the group 5s, the group 14s, the group 15s, those are the 3 groups that I'm going to maybe steer you towards, versus if we think about Morning Glory, Cocklebur, that's where that group 2, that ALS comes in handy. Giant ragweed would be handy for it as well. So that's why it's important knowing the weeds that you face. And then over the next month, understanding as you go out there and evaluate 28 days after you apply these pre's, this is a great time to evaluate how well they are doing. Now, you may get a little confused with maybe trying to make a decision with it. Well, right here is the 2020 herbicide brochure. So we'll put the link in the video here so you can follow and actually get an online PDF version of this. This is a great place to start. What's awesome in 2020, we have more effective herbicide post platforms in soybeans than we ever had. One thing in common that they have is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that starts with the pre-emerge herbicide. So this can kind of help you when you're making your whole herbicide program, but also your pre-emerge. It'll also tell you how to manage each post platform. We also this year are starting to look at cover crops. Well, why cover crops? Well, cover crops could be another way to maybe take some of that pressure off the effective sites of action that we have. When you're selecting that pre-emerge herbicide, make sure you're selecting effective sites of action. You may have resistance to a certain group, so we want to select effective sites of action. Cover crops could be a way to maybe help reduce some of that pressure on our residuals. Now, cover crops aren't for everyone, but it's something that we're starting to look at here. Also, I get a question on timing and incorporation with pre's. Some pre's, they can say we can lightly incorporate. We're actually doing a study this year where we're going out 21 days before planting, and then we're coming in at planting, and then we're incorporating and no incorporation. So we're going to take a look at that because some of these chemicals are a little bit harsher. Does incorporation work? I don't really like to break that barrier, so I'm a fan of spraying right around when the planter's rolling. The less soil disturbance we can have, that's going to make that pre last longer and be better. 21 days out in the world when we used to have to wait for growth regulator plant back restrictions, now with Enlist and Extend, we have that option to be able to use approved formulations such as Extend-A-Max and Enlist at that planting time. So now we can get that pre closer to planting. Thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe below. Thank you and have a great day.